of the Ferrari 250 GTOs on the outside there. We'll try and steer clear of that as much as we can. I don't fancy that repair bill. Risky, but oh, this car's going off into the grass on the outside. Hi guys, and welcome back to SimRacing Bible for another video. This weekend it is the Goodwood Revival, one of the best historic motorsport events in the entire world. It brings together a whole heap of different cars from all over the world and some of the best historic machinery you'll ever see on track racing hard together. So I thought, how about we recreate one of the best races from the whole weekend, the RAC TT Celebration. So let's jump into Assetto Corsa and get started. So here you go, you find us on track here at the Goodwood Revival in qualifying for the RAC TT Celebration. We're in the Virtual RAC GT, this beautiful Italian sports car with a big rumbly V8 engine under the bonnet. And we're about to embark on our first flying lap here in qualifying as we attempt to get ourselves a decent grid position for the race. A couple of cars coming out of the pit lane in front of us just as we start this lap. Hopefully that doesn't affect us too badly, but we're coming up to Ford Water now, which is a really quick part of the circuit. Up to 4th gear and then up to St Mary's, down to 3rd. Try and get it hooked up for the first part, bring it over to the right hand side, down to 2nd, get it into the apex for the left-hander there, and then track drops away from you on the exit. Easy to burst into a bit of oversteer there, and then up to Lavant corner as we try and thread our way through here as we look to get the power down, head off down Lavant straight and unleash all the power in this V8. So all of the Corvette Stingrays in front of us on track as well. Shouldn't be getting in the way down the straight, but let's see what happens when we get to the tight stuff down the end here. So braking just on the kink there, down to 2nd gear for Woodcut corner. Double apex, look for the second part, hook it up on the inside, apply the power, apply some opposite lock, then up to the chicane we go, flick it right, flick it left, get back on the gas, and head for the line as we attempt to get ourselves a flying lap on the board. These cars are so good to drive, they really are. These historic cars, they just take a little bit of manhandling at times, as you can tell. But it is so rewarding because you're always feeling the car moving around underneath you because you're on these cross-ply tyres which don't have the most amazing grip in the world. But it just makes for a really fun driving experience, and this Virtual sounds absolutely fantastic when you get on the downshifts and the engine and the exhaust pops and bangs its way into the corner and then roars on the exit. Flame spitting from the exhaust of the big Corvette in front of us. Balancing the car on the exit there, the wheel just waving around ever so slightly. You're always making little corrections as you're going through the corner. And then get on the brakes nice and early, otherwise you'll run on too deep into Woodcut. Use a little bit of throttle to help with the rotation, bring the rear end round nicely, and then brake in a bit of a straight line towards the corner. Corvette's gone off onto the grass on the exit there, but survived, and up past the pit lane, and up and over the line we go again. Let's go back to the paddock and see where we qualified for the RAC TT Celebration here at the Goodwood Revival. So here we go then, we're on the grid for the RAC TT Celebration in 10th position. A field of beautiful GT cars ahead of us, we're just waiting for the lights to go out. And when they do, we're racing here at Goodwood for 10 laps of the Goodwood Motor Circuit in the RAC TT Celebration. Got a reasonable start there, splitting the gap ahead of us. One of the Ferrari 250 GTOs on the outside there. We'll try and steer clear of that as much as we can. I don't fancy that repair bill. As we come down the first straight here at Goodwood in our Virtual, got a Jaguar Coupe ahead of us here, Cut 7, one of the very famous Jaguar E-types. On the outside of the Ferrari here, this is a little bit risky, but oh, this car's going off into the grass on the outside. It's the thing with the Revival, all these historic cars, even though they are incredibly expensive, they all get driven very, very hard indeed. And as such, we are treated as spectators to an awesome spectacle of racing. So we've rounded up the Ferrari. We're on the outside of the Jaguar through Lavant. Just wait to get the power down again. And let's see if we can round them up on the exit. There we go. The Jaguar's got plenty of squirt in the straight line. Milan's still finding the grass on the outside there. Ooh, the Jaguar's on the brakes. We have to get on the brakes as well, just so we don't run into the back of him. Flame spitting from the exhausts. Trying to thread our way through Woodcote for the first time. So 10 laps of the Goodwood circuit coming up as we try and make our way forward. Potentially onto the podium here at the Goodwood Revival. Got a good run on the outside of the Jaguar down to turn 1, but we have got a Lotus in our way. And through comes the Jaguar once again on the inside on the brakes. But he does run wide on the exit. It opens the door up for us. Very handily indeed. And we're through and on our way. Now usually the RAC TT Celebration here at Goodwood lasts over 60 minutes and actually has a driver change thrown in for good measure. But today for us it's just the single 10 laps. And there we go, we've rounded up the Elan just on the exit there through Fordwater. Except, hang on to the tarmac. There we go. Just about got away with that. Into St Mary's. And ahead of us we have one of the Austin Healey 3000s, and it looks like there's a Cobra leading the way as well, which is a familiar sight here at Goodwood, as Cobras tend to be one of those cars which is always up at the sharp end of things in the RAC TT Celebration. But we are now onto the podium, so let's see if we can improve our position and round up these cars ahead of us here, as we hopefully try and settle down into a bit of a rhythm here. First few laps here at Goodwood always are quite frantic as people jockey for position. A little wide into Woodcote, but we hung on to the tarmac and we gained some ground on P2 as well as he locks up into the chicane and then onto the grass on the outside. Does that give us an opportunity here? Quite possibly. A little bit far back. But the Healey with its Jaguar engine, same as the E-Type, has also got plenty of straight line speed and is also considerably lighter than the big Bitsurina that we're in now, so he's better on the brakes than we are. So we've got to pick and choose our opportunity to get past this Healey here now. Up the inside into Fordwater isn't usually the move, but we had a bit of a run. And I think we've got the job done. Yes, I can see him in the mirrors there. This time try and keep it neat and tidy through here, which we've managed to do. Get it over to the right hand side before flicking it back in and then just balancing the car on the exit beautifully. Such a joy to drive these cars, they really are absolutely fantastic. And there we go, let's try and rein in that Cobra ahead of us. The hard top Cobra, running its 289 cubic inch V8. A very potent machine in the right hands around here. Through the kink, hard on the brakes. Let the car just drift through the first part and then thread it through. Already 3 laps into this race. And the Austin Healey is not letting us get away as well. He's looming large in our mirrors on the left there. And we are starting to reel the Cobra in ever so slightly, not massively, but the gap is reducing and that's what we want to see. Hopefully we have enough time left in the race to be able to really bring that down, then have the opportunity to fight for the win. That would be nice. Little dab of brakes as we settle the car through Fordwater. Bigger dab of brakes into St Mary's. Probably one of my favourite parts of the circuit. And very easy to get it wrong as well through there. All of a sudden, we find ourselves with a much clearer view of the Cobra ahead of us. But a good run through there. We've drifted a little bit wide of the apex into Lavant, which leaves us with less track on the outside to use to get the power down, but we get through there and survive quite nicely. We have gapped the Austin Healey behind us now, so that's given us a bit of a relief of pressure behind. So that means we can now focus solely on the goal of obtaining the lead from this Cobra now. First things first, when we get up to the back of this car, is we need to ascertain just where we might be quicker than him. There's no point rushing into things, especially when you have a little bit of time available to you, as the Cobra gets on the grass on the exit of the chicane there. And that allows us to pull right up onto the rear end of him. Such beautiful cars, the hardtop Cobras, aren't they? I mean, they're just wonderful to look at. Flames spitting from the exhaust there. Magic corner's a fun one to get through as well, because it's quite a quick corner. You have a big compression in the middle, and then it just kind of rises on the exit, which just leans itself to having a nice slide through there. Now we're all over this Cobra. So, as I said, exercise a little bit of patience through here, just to try and figure out where we're quicker, what we can do to try and make a move on him. Nice run off St. Mary's there, but I had to get on the brakes because that big Cobra is right in the way as we set ourselves up for Lavant. Go on, Phil. Keep the rear end in check, will you? Rev it all the way up to the red line. 6,500 revs in this Bizzarini. Now, Cobras aren't normally the best on the brakes, but he seems to be pretty strong into the woodcut corner. He's a bit wide the apex into the chicane. They seem to have real trouble through there, the AI drivers, so that could well be our opportunity. We're already half distance in the race. We have just a few more laps to go. Let's see if we can make any impression on the leader here. The RAC TT Celebration always throws up some incredible racing. You have some of the best drivers in the world driving these beautiful cars. Whoa. Cobra had a big dab of brakes for forward water that time. I'm going to duck out of that one early. You often see the drivers get quite into the racing and sometimes swapping paint as well, which is hard for spectators to watch, but it really does show that they just race the cars as hard as they should be raced in real life. That's what they've been designed and built to do, so that's what they do. Because what makes the Revival such a wonderful event, alongside the theme of the event where everyone gets into the spirit of it and dresses into period clothing and really brings the circuit alive as if it was back in the 60s. Which of course most of the trackside furniture, the grandstands, buildings, etc. have retained some of their classic looks, just as they were when the circuit closed back in the 60s, which means we get to enjoy it as like a time capsule looking back into the past, which really does make it an incredible atmosphere the whole weekend. So here we go on lap 7 of 10 now, 3 to go. We're all over the Cobra. We just need to find that one opportunity which might allow us to make the move. He seems to be a little hesitant through forward water. We have a good run through there on him. In the rev limiter in third. It's probably too late to shift into fourth on that particular occasion, so we're left in third. Now down to second as we get into the second part of St. Mary's. Wide again from the Cobra. Not always the easiest of cars to get into an apex. But there are some Cobras out there which are really nicely sorted and well balanced, even if they do have ridiculous amounts of power coming out from their V8 engines. Here we go, we've got a bit of a run up the outside here, but I suspect we're going to get hung out to dry on the exit here. Here he comes. Yep. Straight back to the lead again, but that was our first opportunity to kind of get side by side with him, really. It just happens to be in the part of the circuit which is not easy to overtake on the outside there. Again, we have a good run off the chicane. And the Healy is kind of staying there. It's a fair distance back, but it's always there to pick up the pieces should anything go wrong ahead. Oh, speaking of which, big lockup from the Cobra into turn 1 to Maverick. Right on the rear bumper now. You can wave to him and say hello. And right here, ready to take your P1 position. And just like that, we slide through on the inside of forward water. Got the job done too. Now the key is to keep the car on track to the end of the race to give us a chance of holding on to this lead. Which, if you're familiar with the channel, when I say things like that, that usually leads to me throwing it off somewhere. So hopefully, this time, we can break that jinx. We've instantly put a bit of space between ourselves and the Cobra. So, 2 laps to go. Let's hold on for the win. Love the noise this thing makes on the downshift. We missed the apex into Woodcote. Curse is already trying to strike me down. Cobra's right there, you can just see him. That big mouth right in the mirror there, just waiting to pick up the pieces when we make a mistake. But so far, so good. Just play with the throttle just to try and see when you can put it down and help that rear rotate through the corner, because with these cars you do get a fair amount of understeer, and sometimes you just need that throttle just to try and wrap that rear end around the corner a little bit and just help you to get through that big sideways slide into the first part of the same areas, and we managed to keep it under control and then float it through the second part. Probably where it's one of my favourite parts of the circuit. It's just when you get it right through there, you have this beautiful flow slide all the way through there. But that is the case with these historic cars with their cross-play tyres. They need to slide around a little bit. They can't be on rails the whole time. They're not like modern GT cars, which have downforce keeping them on the ground. They do move around an awful lot more, and as such they require a little bit more driving inputs, which makes it for a whole lot more satisfying experience driving these cars around a track. And it makes you feel like you've actually done something to actually achieve that. So it's very flattering driving these cars when you get them right. When they're difficult to drive, when you aren't quite on top of it, it can be quite a frustrating experience, but when they are working well and you're working well, there really is nothing quite like it. Final lap coming up then. This is the last lap of our race here, and we've still got the lead. Cobra is keeping us a little bit honest, although he has dropped back on this this last lap, which means we can take it just a little bit easier, just to make sure we get through this without running off track. Oh, he says, as he gets a big snap of oversteer, trying to get on the brakes. We've survived. Ooh, right up on the rev limiter. Sorry, Bizzarini. No mechanical sympathy there. They are a very physical thing to drive, these historic GT cars. You're constantly moving one way or another with the wheel. But that's why we love them. That's why we love historic motorsport racing so much. Because they're just wonderful, wonderful cars. And the Goodwood Revival is definitely one of the very best historic motorsport events in the entire world. Just about made it through Woodcut. Let's just concentrate through the chicane for the final time. Lock up the power. Go up to the pit wall and acknowledge the flag as we take a victory here at the Goodwood Revival in the RAC TT Celebration. Well, that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed driving these historic cars. They're so good to drive, and the racing is always spectacular as well. If you have enjoyed that video, please do hit the like button. It really helps the channel out. And also, if you've not yet subscribed to Sim Racing Bible and you would like to see more content from us, please hit the red subscribe button below, and we'd love to have you on board as part of the team. But until next time, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you in the next video.